The growing showdown over Democrats' rebuttal to a GOP House intelligence memo alleging surveillance abuses during the 2016 campaign. Let's talk about it. It's about to get spicy. Redactions are now underway on the Democrats' memo after President Trump objected to declassifying it Friday. Now a Democrat on the committee has told CNN it could go back to the White House as soon as today. The president over the weekend slammed the initial rebuttal, tweeting, "The Democrats sent a very political and long response memo, which they knew, because of sources and methods, and more, would have to be heavily redacted," whereupon they would blame the White House for lack of transparency. Told them to redo and send back in proper form. But ranking Democrat Adam Schiff says the president had a much different motive for rejecting it. Watch.
The president doesn't want the public to see the underlying facts. What is revealed in our memo are quotations from the very FISA application that really demonstrate just how misleading the Republicans have been. The president doesn't want you to see these facts from the FISA application because it completely undermines his claim of vindication.
Power panel now. Lisa Booth, president of High Noon Strategies, and back from outnumbered Marie Harf, former spokesperson for the State Department. Both are Fox News contributors. Lisa, I'm going to start with you. My head almost exploded as I was listening there to a Democrat say, oh, no, we're going to completely show you that the facts were different. I'm paraphrasing him. When no one has said that, actually.
Well, and Chairman Gowdy also made the same assertion that President Trump laid out in his tweet, that the Democrats intentionally tried to set it up where there were sources and methods to try to hamstring the Trump administration and put them in a negative spot. But look, I think ultimately what needs to be done here is releasing the original application for the FISA warrant and the subsequent extensions, and that way this conversation is no longer left and right, and ultimately Americans just get to see the underlying information.
And the importance of that? Why do we need to know it?
Well, I think the concern here is the fact of what you've got from the Nunes memo, as well as what Senators Grassley and Graham laid out, and the fact that the dossier was used to obtain a FISA warrant against someone that used to be affiliated with the Trump campaign. And I think the big issue here is also the credibility of Steele, because he even said in a British court that he cannot verify his own dossier, yet the FBI used it to obtain a FISA warrant. So I think that
to spy on Americans.
Right, which is incredibly concerning.
So, Marie, again, what I was pointing out is that no one has said, at least on the record that I have seen, that what is in the Republican memo per se is going to be shown to not be true by the Democratic memo, which means facts can't be changed. So what's the point of seeing another one? I want to see everything, but I just want to know your opinion.
Well, I actually think a lot of Democrats believe that Chairman Nunes cherry-picked information. He only used certain things and didn't use others, and made accusations that are not true based on that. That he has made a claim that the FISA process was misused here to surveil Carter Page, when in fact there is no evidence that we have seen that it was misused. Carter Page, his application was renewed 3 times based on a multitude of information, and no one has been able to point to anything. So speaking to Lisa's point, that's why it would actually be helpful to see the unvarnished truth in the FISA application. But the Democratic memo also needs to be released. The longer the White House refuses to do that, this looks partisan.
Well, but the president hasn't said that he won't release it. He said it's got to go back. And I recall
But they didn't do that to the Republicans.
But I do
also
recall that there were some changes made to that original Republican one, too. It may not have gone through this direct process from the White House, but Democrats were pushing back. Well, they didn't want changes to it.
But you can't say it's the same process when President Trump put out the Republican memo over FBI and DOJ
It's more than twice as long as the Republican.
I also think
it's only 10 pages.
I also
it's not like
think
a novel.
There's been a loss of credibility for many on the left. When you had Obama administration officials lying to us and telling us they did not spy and unmask names within the Trump transition team. We have Schiff has been saying all along that there's collusion, but is yet to provide any evidence of collusion. You have Hillary Clinton and the DNC having lied about the fact that they were behind the dossier in the first place. So I think there's really a loss of credibility for those on the left.
And it's that money trail that has been problematic all along. I mean, what did the FISA court not get in terms of useful information that may have changed the game altogether? But I want to go back to just kind of the overarching situation here. Would you say, Marie, that both sides have been damaged in this process? Because, I mean, you've got material coming out of the House Intel Committee. In the very end, we may end up seeing evidentiary support of the FISA application. I mean, it's in the bloodstream of America now. It was never really meant to be there.
Well, look, I think that the House Intelligence Committee, unfortunately, I would argue largely because of Chairman Nuñez's behavior, but let's say...
Of course you would. You're a Democrat.
Well, he's also the chairman, and he's in charge of setting the tone. And this week he built a physical wall separating the staffers from the two sides. So he's
Did Democrats fight that?
He's not, absolutely. He is not setting a tone of bipartisanship. But I'll give you this. The House Intelligence Committee is not functioning in the way it should. The Senate Intelligence Committee, Richard Burr and Mark Warner, Republican and Democrat, have actually managed to work together in the kind of bipartisan manner that they should be.
But you've also had those on the left file a complaint against with the House Ethics Committee against Chairman Nuñez, and it found out that he did not abuse classified information. He did not handle it incorrectly, which the allegation likely came from the left. So
keep things equal, fair. Don't spy on us unless you know that you're doing it for the right reasons, and keep us safe. We'll be right back. Stay put. With the midterm elections fast approaching, President Trump will reportedly look to rally his base with more cultural issues, perhaps like NFL players kneeling during the national anthem. Is that a good way to get Republicans to the polls? Could it backfire? And maybe, I don't know, incentivize Democrats to go to the polls? We'll talk about it.